Hello, everyone. Welcome to Career Conversations. Today we have with us Dr. Kaitlyn Goldsmith of EsVedra Wellness. Dr. Kaitlyn is a psychologist and a certified yoga teacher who is passionate about integrative wellness approaches and is on a mission to inspire and empower people to live their fullest lives while making mental health and wellness resources more accessible and affordable. Hi, Kaitlyn. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So we did see that you have such diverse and such great experience. I was just wondering, how has your experience been of getting involved in so many different areas and things? And, how have you sort of managed that work-life balance?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I definitely have a lot going on. So, I teach at UBC. I also have my private practice, and then I run my business as EsVedra Wellness. So, for me, it's not so much about work-life balance as much as work-life integration. So, as a tech entrepreneur, it's kind of a blessing and a curse that I'm able to work from anywhere. I definitely catch myself sending messages and emails at all hours of the day and night. So that's it's a constant learning experience of how to manage that. I love being able to work from everywhere, but also reminding myself to take breaks. And it's definitely a work in progress, kind of managing and juggling all of these things. But I'm lucky because I love what I do in all areas.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. And not everyone who is working in different areas loves what they do. So it's amazing to hear that you are doing that. And just the next question we have for you is, provided your set of experiences, how has your attitude and mindset played a role in attracting these opportunities to you?
Mhm. I think for me, I've always been a little bit unconventional. So I kind of tend to do things a little bit differently than most people, and I love to challenge myself. So, for example, I decided at age 13 that I would homeschool myself, and so that I could become an actor. So I started acting in TV shows and commercials and doing all those things. And then I finished high school on my own at age 15, and I just decided to start a business as a piano teacher. And so I did that for 2 years. I had 40 students, and I, you know, did piano and sang and did all those sorts of things. And while I was in grad school, I traveled at every chance I got. So I traveled to 36 different countries while completing my PhD, to the dismay sometimes of my supervisor, who would not always like that I would do that. But basically, I'm constantly looking for ways to do things a little bit differently than how most people do them. And it's really important to me to make decisions that suit me and what I want to do and what are really in alignment with my values rather than just living out the script of what we're all told to do. So I really, it's all about living with intention and not on autopilot.
How do you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, it's a tough one sometimes. I think, again, going back to I'm lucky because my work is really rewarding. I can see the results of what I do, in so many ways, like working with people one-on-one, teaching, leading my team, having these creative advances and like wonderful experiences where like I have an idea and I can actually see it coming into progress. It's so cool to be an entrepreneur because you can actually see things that you think of and they come into play. It's not like being in a company where you have an idea and they may or may not listen to it. So that part of it's really rewarding, and getting to connect with amazing people from around the world every day is awesome. That being said, not every day is traveling and photo shoots and all this amazing stuff. There's a lot of trial and error, mostly error sometimes, a lot of things that don't work, a lot of long hours, and a lot of rejection. That's something that I've, definitely had to learn to deal with as an entrepreneur, is like a lot of people that, they just don't believe in your idea and, they're not supportive, whatever it may be. So for me, I rely a lot on my spiritual practice to remind myself that everything that's meant to be will be. And I've, really started to try to live into that and seeing that it really is true. Like it's played out in such amazing ways in my life, opportunities that I thought I wanted, but it ended up, being so much better for me to go a totally different way. So that's one thing. And then sometimes it's just about reminding myself that the more I do, the more I do. So if I ever feel stuck, it's just like I need to get that momentum going and just start somewhere. So I'll like bargain with myself and be like, okay, you just need to do it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? And then once the ball gets rolling, it's all good.
Yeah, definitely. In my little experience that I have of working and studying at SFU, I one thing that I have learned definitely is also that there's going to be a lot of rejection, and I have started believing that rejection is actually the path to success. So yeah, thank you for that. That's an amazing answer. I loved it. And just a last question for you. The pandemic has negatively impacted many students' mental wellness, as I'm sure you're aware. So, what's your biggest tip on how they can improve their mental health at this challenging time?
Yeah, you're so right. It's been such a disruption for all of us in terms of self-care and mental health. I think because it's disrupted so many things that people do to cope, like physical exercise, right? Gyms are closed, sports, are not allowed to, play anymore. Socializing, even religious and spiritual practices, right, have been disrupted during this time. So I think it's about being creative about how to create those experiences and continue doing them in a different way, right? Not just giving up, but finding a different way that's going to work for you despite all the lockdowns and all the changes. I also think that during the pandemic there's a lot of like regular life, and then there's still bad things that happen, and then regular life, whereas in normal life without the pandemic there's like highs, and lows and highs, and it's a little bit more of that. And so I feel like creating those highs and those highlights is really important, because they're not just going to pop into your schedule with the annual holiday party or this birthday party. They don't just appear there anymore. You have to create those. So these can even be simple things like organizing a virtual game night with friends, or getting dressed up for dinner at home, right? Cooking a special meal, or even like having a spa night or a self-care night or whatever that looks like. But really being intentional and creating the life that you want during this time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaitlyn, for your amazing answers. I'm sure all of your answers will help students at SFU and everywhere, whoever is watching, a lot. So we really appreciate you, and thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Take care.